Hi, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Matt Hannah.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannahs.
Where you come for the kills, but stay for the comedy.
Sure,
yeah. Which fits well with this movie.
Oh, yes, it does. Well, today we are going to be talking about the new release horror Him. So, Him is a brand new horror film, literally came out this past week. The back of the box description is a young athlete descend into a world of terror when he's invited to train with a legendary champion whose charisma curdles into something darker. The film is directed by Justin Tipping. This is only the second film that he has directed, and it's written by Tipping, Skip Bronke, and Zach Ackers.
And contrary to popular belief, it was not directed by Jordan Peele, which everyone I talked to about is like, oh, that's the new Jordan Peele movie. I'm like, nope.
Produced by...
It's
not
produced
directed.
by, not directed, but for some reason that marketing really worked, and I am annoyed by it. But you know what? That's we can complain about that another time.
We'll probably end up complaining about that during the episode because I do really think that did mess up people's expectations for the movie, I would say, or at least I assume, because I do think a lot of people were like, it's gonna be amazing because it's Jordan Peele, and yes, Jordan Peele produced it, but didn't direct it
or write it,
so yeah, that really does impact the final quality of the film, although he did have some sort of a say in the project as the producer, and I do think you can see that he's had his hands in this. The film
definitely
is starring Marlon Wayans, Tyriq Withers, Julia Fox, Tim Heidecker, and Jim Jeffries. I actually had never seen what Jim Jeffries looked like, but I've heard him on podcasts. Very funny enough, I've heard him on a couple podcasts talking about The Bachelor because he really likes The Bachelor. And funny. He is the funniest motherfucker I've ever heard in my life.
Well, he's quite funny in this movie too. So
yeah, he was a trip. Honestly, I wish they gave him more to work with. But that's a critique I'm going to have kind of across the board. But... so, more background for this film. I have a couple fun facts that don't ruin any plot or anything because we're going to try and stay spoiler free for a bit. And so what I will say is this script was voted onto the blacklist of best unproduced screenplays in 2022.
Okay, yeah, and we've been over that before. That's one.
The Blacklist is the annual survey of the most liked motion picture screenplays that have not been produced yet. But most liked, this script. I think a lot of people, their biggest issue with the film is the script. So I do think that that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm not someone that has a problem with this script at all. So I guess we'll get into that. I actually will say right off the bat, I think that the critics have been wrong about this one. And this is one that not often do I feel that way. But this usually I think I align with critics. This is one of the times that I really do think they've gotten it wrong. So
that's interesting. I think I have mixed thoughts on that. I think there are things about this movie that I really, really enjoyed, and there are things that I really, really did not enjoy, and obviously we will get into it. The other thing I did want to share is obviously this was put onto the blacklist list of best unproduced screenplays in 2022, but in 2022 was when it was picked up by Jordan Peele's Monkey Paw Productions in a deal with Universal. So we did know it would be made into a film most likely at that point. It just hadn't been. Marlon Wayans has obviously come to the defense of this movie. Not only is he in it in the leading role and really, really great in this movie, but he has posted on social media to kind of defend the film from its poor reviews. But I did enjoy some of the behind the scenes of filming, things that he said in his interviews as well. He said that when they started filming, he felt like a natural competition with Tyriq Withers because when they started filming, Tyriq Withers was already in really, really great shape. And he wasn't when they were getting ready to make the film. So he said, I like that he was big like that because for me mentally it allowed me to go to even a darker place. It allowed me to seep into that jealousy, which I do think is a pretty big theme of the movie. So it's fun that he was able to really channel that in the character so early on.
Yeah, Marlon Wayans, well-known method actor. And just speaking of him, I have to say I'm so dumb, and like when I kept hearing his name, did not realize that it was Marlon Wayans, like the Wayans brothers, Marlon Wayans. And well, when you say White Chicks, I say Scary Movie.
Scary Movie, yeah. That's the other one.
And like, so for anyone who hadn't realized that, like, this is him from that. And I did not know he had this in him. And I just really hope that this is just a diving board for him to just go even higher and like get off the ground running from this to do even more dramatic roles, because he is phenomenal. Like, not joking. He is so dang good. I said it in one of our TikToks that like, I feel like this is his Demi Moore moment from The Substance, where it's like, it's where's the Oscar nom for something like this?
That won't happen.
I don't think he should win, but like,
he won't be anywhere near nominated. But I think that's crazy, but
I think he could.
No.
Like, no. I'm saying you and I both believe he is at the level.
No.
Oh, you don't believe he's at the level to be nominated?
No.
I do. Okay.
Also, it won't happen with the script this messy. It would never, ever happen. Do I think, like, shittier movies get nominated for Golden Globes? So I think that he can get nominated for a Golden Globe.
I hope.
And I would be very supportive of that for, like, the comedy, category.
Yeah,
but
comedy or musical.
Yeah. Because that's the same thing. Les Mis, a well-known comedy. But yeah, I mean, he is the best part of this movie, hands down. So I will agree with you, and we'll get into that. The other thing I did want to say is I read this on IMDb, so like their trivia section. So that doesn't mean that it's true necessarily. But what it does say is that Isaiah White, that's Marlon Wayans' character, throughout the movie, excuses himself to, quote, watch tape. And that is perhaps an homage to American Psycho, in which Patrick Bateman constantly says, I'm going to return some tapes to get out of obligations.
Oh, that's funny.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I just realized that.
Yeah.
Yep. And we covered that movie not too long ago, so if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
Gotta return some videotapes.
Yeah. And which is like the funniest fucking part of American Psycho. Also, in our episode, if you do check that out, we talk about the book too, because that is one that we both, that I read and watched, and it's a mess of a book, but that's okay. So before we get deep into discussion of the movie, we did ask our followers. Our social media question this week was a little lackluster compared to normal. This week, all we asked was, how excited are you for him on a scale of 1 to 10? Movie Postmortem Podcast said an 8 out of 10. I love the idea of a movie like this that deals with football. I hope it's like a trippy version of the program. And then on Instagram, we also asked this question. Halloween Babies Podcast said a 6. And I know I personally was feeling really, really high on this movie before it came out. And as the reviews came out, my excitement for the film died down a little bit. So let's talk about...
Wait, I have to say about my expectations.
What our experience was with the movie.
Okay. I understand.
So...
I thought you were going to skip me.
Why would I do that?
No.
So our experience with the film was a little different because we got invited to a press screening for the movie a day early. So Matt was able to see the film before there were any critic scores or responses
Hannah was camping,
out.
So she couldn't go. She was traveling.
I was in Colorado, so I sent Matt along with friend of the pod, Matt, the two Matts there to go.
We went on a little movie date, and it was wonderful.
Boys
we got our
date.
popcorn. We got some soda, and we sat around with some other like-minded press people. I'm going to call myself press instead of influencer. This is press.
Well, the signs all say press / influencer,
influencer,
so that's cool.
So seeing this in a packed theater of people that were there for an early screening that had no idea, Matt and I will both say we had an absolute blast. And we were pumped. We were both like, okay, this looks insane. This looks like batshit insane and silly. And that's kind of what I wanted out of it. And I think that's exactly what I got, was like so out there and ridiculous that it's good. And that's really met my expectations entirely.
And so I would say, like, going in just from the trailers, my expectations was for something pretty bonkers. I kind of expected The Substance, but for a sport movie. Like, the level of bonkers, not necessarily, like, the same themes or anything, but, like, the level of, like, camp and crazy that kind of starts in the third act of that movie. And I expected something that was, like, visually interesting. And I do feel like, to a degree, that I did get that. But I do think because I didn't get to see the movie early, the embargo had lifted for reviews before I got to see it. So I do think I went in with different expectations than I would have had I seen the early screening when Matt and Matt did.
You did have expectations from us where we both came out of it and we were like, okay, we kind of loved it.
But then I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah. This is proof to not listen to Rotten Tomatoes.
I do think it's pretty interesting that the review embargo did not lift until the morning it released, because that has not been the case for a lot of films this year in particular.
That usually means that they know the reviews aren't good.
Exactly.
But that's like now a telltale, so you should just let them roll. But I have to say, it's honestly a shame because I actually think this movie's worth seeing and I would have loved to see it make its budget. I don't know if it will.
I don't think it... I'm not confident that it will. I think if it does, it's going to barely...
I just know people that were like, oh, I wanted to see it, and now I'm not going to because of all these bad reviews. And I'm just like, no, like, I really think it's worth, like, your time. Especially with it's, like, being experimental in some ways. It's funny. It's really a mix of so many things. Like, I just think it's a really cool voice and it just so stylistic that it's a shame because, like, this is, I think, mostly pretty unique.
You
don't feel that way?
I think it's very fun, and I don't think it's as unique as you do, and that's part of my critique. I actually think it's very obvious where it's going from, like, very early
Sure,
on.
I don't mind about that. I'm more just meaning the stylistically how it looks, the performances, and even the take on it. I do think it's kind of similar to The Substance, but in, like, it's different, but, like, has a lot of, like, similar ideas. But for me, I don't know, it kind of just worked. But maybe I was just there to really enjoy the goofiness and, like, insanity of it. So.
So, because we are talking, kind of comparing how we feel about it to critic scores, can you guess the Rotten Tomato score right now?
The other day it was like 29%, which is obscene. But tell me what it is.
What do you think it is?
That's my guess, 29%.
It's 29. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wait, that's crazy. I nailed it.
It was in 30-something, then it dropped to 28, it's bounced back up to 29.
It's ridiculous. I actually feel so bad for Justin Tipping because I think he, like, put something pretty cool on display, and I do hope he gets another shot. That was another thing that came out after watching it. I was like, I really hope this director gets to make more. And, like, I hope that this isn't something that, like, stunts him, you know? That'd be a shame.
Well, so I think his career is also very interesting because he only has directed 2 movies. One was like 9 years ago. So I do kind of worry about what this does to his career. But I do think we can say either way. He knows how to put some really cool imagery on the screen. I think
clearly
he, like,
knows how to
has
get a good performance
style
out of Marlon Wayans. And really everyone, I thought. But
can you guess what the audience score is on Rotten Tomatoes? What do you think it is?
65%.
It is 58.
That's ridiculous.
So you're kind of close. You're pretty close.
I did think once I started seeing the bad critic scores, I was like, okay, this is going to be one beloved by people then, and the audience is going to be high. But I guess I saw a different movie than everyone else. So, and again, I'm not saying this is like a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 movie, but, like, for what I knew exactly what I was getting from moment one. And, like, I feel like you kind of have to set those expectations, and the movie does a good job. It doesn't promise you something it's not. I
think what the issue is the trailer sets an expectation that the movie can't live up to. The trailer fucking rocks.
I thought the movie was exactly what I got out of it. Like, I thought I had the exact expectations from the trailer to the movie. Not kidding. Like, I
don't know. I think the trailer fucking rocks, and the movie doesn't fucking rock. But that doesn't mean I don't like it. I did have a lot of fun with it. I know I'm kind of like acting like I didn't, but I had a ton of fucking fun with this movie. I was like giggling to myself the whole time. I also saw this in like an empty theater, so I was just like laughing to myself.
I was smiling ear to ear during most of this movie. I'm not even lying. Again, it's not a 10 out of 10, but boy, oh boy, did I have a blast. And that's like why I'm sad that more people aren't going to experience it, because of these damn critic reviews.
I do think sometimes this is another movie where I think the marketing kind of let people down or gave people the wrong
when you keep trying to say it's a Jordan Peele movie when it's not
exactly.
him. Like it's very different. You're not getting his writing. Like that was a silly choice by them to try to get butts in seats. And that probably... I actually imagine the ratings would be higher had they not done that. That's a theory.
I think that's part of it. I do think that sets false expectations. I also think there's this whole thing with like long legs, right? Where like this marketing fucking rocks, and so it's really hard to live. I was let down by long legs. It's really hard to live up to marketing that bucks so hard. And I do think this trailer fucking rocks. And I do think stylistically I am getting what I expected out of the trailer, but I do think the writing in the movie is really messy. So let's just like talk about it, get our thoughts, spoiler-free thoughts
out there.
Before
we do that, I just want to point out to the people on TikTok that Hannah is wearing a jersey from the movie, so clearly she didn't hate it that much. Hannah has a San Antonio Saviors jersey on that we were sent by the studio.
Yeah, we did get it sent to us for free as press, but I mean, I think it's a really fun...
Hannah's, we're press now. Come at us.
It's a fun thing to wear for the episode. Why wouldn't I wear it?
No, it's
also,
awesome.
like, I think it's kind of cool. It doesn't fit super well, but
it's so
I'm
cool.
gonna crop it, make it like a cute little crop top. So yeah, I think it'll be a look for sure when I'm done with it.
You have to post that on Instagram for this episode. Yeah, we'll take a photo with you in it so that the audio listeners can see it.
I mean, if we post, we should probably just post video for this one, but alas. Yeah. Okay, so our spoiler-free thoughts. Obviously, you said you liked the movie quite a bit.
I had so much fun. I laughed out loud throughout. I thought there were good tense parts. I loved the way it looked. And there's some really cool stylistic choices they make like with the
so much you need
X-ray
to take a
vision.
second to breathe like one time in your life.
I just want to get to spoilers.
That's not happening. That's not how we do the podcast, babe. So...
Well, can I just say the last thing I was saying? I just love visually how it looks. And I thought the whole X-ray thing was really experimental and neat. And so people have seen it, you'll know what I mean. There's some cool X-ray shots.
Yes, I think visually this movie is a lot of fun. There's a lot of shots that I thought were cool. I think the coloring of this movie is very fitting for the subject matter. I think sometimes when we see like brighter movies, we're like colored movies in this way, we could be kind of like grumpy, but I think it works really, really well for the subject matter. It's kind of like substancy in the color palette.
Like the substance, yep.
Yeah, and I think it's very fitting for the subject matter of the movie. I think there are some shots that are pretty fucking rad, or like are framed really cool. But ultimately, what I would say is the coolest part of the way the movie looks is, like Matt said, the X-ray shots. What I think is so fun about the X-ray shots is that obviously we can say, obviously, like, we know the physical effects of football. Cognitively, we can understand that. But there are just so many injuries that, like, you don't see. You can't see a brain injury. You can see the symptoms of a brain injury. We can't physically see inside someone's noggin. So I think that that is very interesting that they're kind of giving us like a means to see that. And I do think every time they showed that, I already knew that brain was rattling around in the head, and we already knew he had a brain injury at this. So like, it's double stressful, but I think it's triple stressful when you then get the X-ray vision of watching his head, so to speak.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I thought that was really fun.
I think stylistically it plays into like the themes of the movie.
I just think that this movie, thematically, which we'll get into deeper when we're spoiling, but I think thematically this movie just get a little messy because I think it wants to say so much about the sport of football that it doesn't like get super in depth with anything it's saying.
Ooh, I'm interested to talk about that because I did not feel that way.
I think it's very surface level in everything it's saying. Like, for example, the brain injury stuff. I think they like kind of focused on that early on of like, don't hurt yourself, like you'll ruin your whole life and your whole career and your overall health, blah blah blah, like don't push yourself too hard. And then we keep seeing this x-ray imagery, but besides that, we kind of stopped bringing that up altogether after like 20 minutes into the film. Like we kind of drop it and ignore that. We're gonna fight over this when we get to this part,
because I think while it is surface level, I actually think it says more than enough. Like what else could they say?
And I think there's something to be said about the fact that like we are both football fans. We both watch football. We've both watched games where we've seen brutal fucking injuries.
We saw Ryan Shazier break his spine.
Like, yeah, we were watching the game live. We watched when Damar Hamlin heart stopped on like, yeah. So I think inherently we know all of these things. So when they're not like, when we don't dive into them that closely in the movie, we're already gonna get that because we already think about that a lot.
No, and I understand that. I think that that's just part of the whole themes of it, and it is about the sacrifices that people put on basically to entertain others and the expectations placed upon these young men in most cases. And especially when it comes from their peers, from a money-making standpoint, from fans, there is this expectation that's placed on someone that isn't really in a position to understand the consequences of those actions. It's kind of like, in my mind, similar to kids 18-year-olds taking out loans or 18-year-olds joining the army. Like, and I think that actually nails that feeling. And so that's like kind of where I disagree with you on some of this, but we can get into that in spoiler territory. Because I think the injury is only part of it. That's only a fraction of the message. I think
there's a lot of what it's trying to say. What I'm saying is that's one tiny piece of what it's trying to say.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it says anything very deep about anything. I think there's not much that's deep about this movie at all. Oh,
maybe I just liked it too. I don't know. Maybe I was caught up in the hype because I'm not feeling the same way.
But bro, I had so much fun with the movie. Yeah. I'm not saying I didn't have fun with the movie. I'm just saying the writing could be a little messy in that regard.
Yeah.
I think the performances in this are incredible, but I would say, okay, performances and incredible. I would say there's one performance that is incredible,
stand out,
and there's other performances that are like doing the job. And obviously the standout performance is Marlon Wayans.
I want to jump in and say what's really interesting about this movie is it is not exactly a horror movie. Like it's billed as one, and it like follows that. It's a horror comedy with some drama, but what I thought was really interesting was some of the most entertaining scenes were just the more character-driven scenes, like just conversations between Cam and Isaiah, like our two leads. Like I found that to be some of the most fun, where it was just like this power dynamic between the two. And I thought it was kind of interesting that that's like the route that this went, and what I found to be very successful was really just these like the showcase of Marlon Wayans' performance. And when you say the other performances were just good, I do have to say, I cannot remember his name, but the guy that played Cam.
Tyriq Withers.
He is much blander, but I think it's... No, wait, let me see what I'm saying. I think that's entirely on purpose, because it's supposed to... He's the straight man to Marlon Wayans' like main character. And I actually think had he been less bland, it doesn't work. And it's kind of the point of like, you know, this up and coming QB. They always
like this nervous.
But they're always kind of bland. They kind of have to be. Look at Jalen Hurts. He's like the blandest guy out there. Like,
okay, but I also love him. So...
Sure, but he's just like this cold, like stoic. I'm just saying it's like a joke that he's super bland and like boring.
I think that's true, but I also think I would have wanted more from him, but I don't think that's a him problem. I think that's a script problem.
I don't want more from him personally. I think that this is actually exactly how it's supposed to be. Like, you're right, it's a script problem. I think it's on purpose is maybe what I should say.
I think they're definitely like highlighting the difference between him and Marlon Wayans, and also trying to like show him as being like kind of timid and nervous. Like he is new to this situation. He hasn't played this sport professionally. He's with like an idol. But I do think beyond that he's just like a calmer personality, I wish that the script gave us more of his reactions to things, because I think some crazy fucking shit happens to him and he is so unfazed by it, by what we're given. And that doesn't make any fucking sense.
It might just be because he's in front of the idol. It's the power dynamic thing again. He's like,
but
I'm doing what this guy tells me.
Talking to his family on the phone, I know he's trying not to scare them, but like, I think he's just a little too tame with a lot of his reactions to things, even when he's around people where he can express that, or even when he's alone and we could see that. I don't think that they're giving Tyriq Withers the ability to shine in that way.
Sure.
But I don't think any of this has anything to do with Tyriq Withers' talent. I don't think I don't think the movie gives him enough.
Yeah, I'm
but
agreeing.
I think he's really fucking hot, so I am cool with what we got. Like, his bod was nice, and he is a cute face.
And I keep saying, I think had he done more, it might have taken away from Marlon Wayans' performance. Because, like, again, his comedy bounces off so well.
I think with Marlon Wayans, I like the contrast, but I do think in some other scenes I would like him to like express more anxiety or stress.
Sure.
And I can't really give examples of that without spoiling the movie, so we can always touch on that later if we decide that's worthwhile. What else did I want to say? Oh, Julia Fox was so fun in this too.
She's the same as she always is, but like it just works. It's a great role for her.
I think she knows how to take a part that works for her.
Yeah, and almost make fun of herself to some degree. And it just works. I think she fits right in. She's not distracting. She doesn't have that much to do. It's like you get just the right amount of her, is what I would say.
Yeah.
And what did you think of your boy Jim Jeffries? Because I thought he was also hysterical in this.
I thought he was funny, but I thought they didn't give him that much to do either. I don't think anyone got much to do besides Marlon Wayans and like a little Julia Fox.
So I agree with what you're saying. I just have to come back to I think that's all on purpose. And I don't mind it because I like Marlon Wayans so much.
I don't
feel like complaining about them having less, because had they had more and Marlon Wayans had less, that's a worse movie in my mind. I just loved his performance that much. So that's why I'm not complaining. I mostly have nice things to say about this. Even again, I don't even think it's a 9 out of 10 for me.
I kind of do feel like you're blinded to the issues that the movie has based off our conversation so far. But
I might be choosing to be blind because I think I understand exactly what this is trying to do.
Oh, I know what it's trying to do. It's my point is I don't know how successful it is. I had so much fun with this movie, but I do think it's messy.
Okay, all right.
Again, like I really did enjoy it, but I after thinking about it, I did lower my Letterboxd score a little bit because I was like, wow, what a mess. So we talked about this movie visually. We talked about the performances. Is this movie scary in any way?
No, but it's not trying to be. So I'm not going to complain.
I think it is. Oh. I think it is in like a... Okay, so... Inherently, football is scary. Football injuries are scary. Football training is scary. Everything about this sport is fucking terrifying because it could just so easily kill you.
Yeah.
We've seen it. In that way, I found the movie scary, but I found it as scary as I feel watching a football game. So, in like a horror movie sense, I did not find it scary. And I do think there are some times where it's trying to be scary with like these like culty elements or like demonic imagery, or like, is this real or is he seeing things kind of way? And I don't think those bits are scary.
Okay. I will say the culty elements though, that's you. You're the fan. That's supposed to be a mirror of you. I'm
not dumb. I'm aware. It's like football as an entity. Sports period.
You're that lady that breaks into the house.
No, I'm not. But I think football period, but sports period are a fucking cult.
Yes. And we're part of it. And you know what? Before we get into spoilers, because we're about to, right? Are we going into spoilers shortly?
Shortly, yeah.
Okay. I just want to say this was a selling point for me. This might be a selling point for you. I love the Pittsburgh Steelers. I am a huge NFL fan. It is something I look forward to every Sunday. There is a brief moment after watching this movie where I was like, I probably shouldn't be watching the NFL. And I really like felt that internally. I'm not going to stop, but like this movie actually made me feel that for a moment, which I think is really impressive for a movie that has a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. So if that convinces you, that should be your reason. Like if you want to find something that's gonna, like, again, I've seen players break their back on the field, and that didn't convince me, but this one got under my skin in a way that was like, ooh, shit, we're all part of this messed up system.
That's crazy.
So, yep.
That's
what I'm saying. Like, yes, it is crazy. That's why I'm complimenting the movie so much.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I mean, I already felt like I shouldn't be watching football, but I have fun, and I like fantasy, and I'm an asshole.
I'm waiting for themes. I'm gonna go crazy in themes today.
That's fine, bro.
Okay,
I think we can just get all up in here and spoil this bitch.
So, spoiler zone starting now. All right,
now,
so let's do
spoiler zone.
Yeah, we're adding Matt's in though. Okay, so
15 second summary.
That's what I was gonna do. I'm pulling up mine. I have mine ready. If you're right, if you're ready.
Okay.
All right, you wanna? Can I just do myself?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, the substance, but make it for men. The substance is already for men, but this is like the toxic masculinity men,
and
or men. The substance
90 times worse.
Yeah. Well, all right. If you say
it's
so.
not as good as
I
the
actually
substance.
am still shocked that the substance did as good as it did with this movie not doing as well. I'm just.
They're so different. One of them is very messy, and one of them is not. Okay. One of them is like a mess in like the way it's intending to be. It gets really campy and crazy on purpose, and this obviously does, but I don't think it sticks the landing in the same way because the writing is messy.
I do agree that the landing isn't sticked as well. Okay, ready? Go.
Is it a fumble or a touchdown? I don't know. We'll get into it.
Boo. That was terrible.
I know. I just wanted to make football puns.
That was worse than my opening.
I went in to make football puns.
Should I write that in our plot description for this episode?
Yeah, you should.
All right, let me do a full plot description for everyone who hasn't seen it. So, here we go. A young Cam Cade watches his favorite football team, the San Antonio Saviors, win the league championship. His joy turns into stress when his quarterback idol, Isaiah White, suffers a possibly career-ending injury while scoring the winning touchdown. Cam's father tells him that real men are willing to make sacrifices. Years later, Cam's father has died and Cam is now a rising football star. Encouraged by his family and girlfriend, he trains for the league combine. While practicing late on an empty field, Cam is attacked by someone in a goat costume, causing a head injury that endangers his career. Motivated by his agent Tom, Cam plans to attend the combine despite risking permanent brain damage should he sustain another injury. While overstimulated due to his concussion, Cam lashes out at his brother and Tom, ultimately refusing to participate in the combine. Tom later reveals that Isaiah is considering retirement and has offered to train Cam for a week at a remote desert compound to prove himself as a worthy successor. Cam accepts and travels there, encountering crazed Isaiah fans who try to intimidate him out of replacing their hero. At the compound, Isaiah puts Cam through disturbing challenges, including a practice drill where a football machine repeatedly hits a player in the head. Cam secretly receives shots of Isaiah's blood, which he is led to believe is an energy booster, and experiences frequent hallucinations of masked figures. While in a sauna, Cam is attacked by a crazed fan and overpowers her. Isaiah arrives and emotionlessly kills her. As Cam tries to leave, Isaiah's wife, Elsie, apologizes and seduces him. Cam wakes up the next morning to Isaiah holding him at gunpoint, demanding to know if Cam and Elise slept together. Isaiah ridicules Cam for feeling guilty about his girlfriend, saying winners are remorseless. Elsie invites Cam to a secret party to meet the Savior's owners. Upon arrival, Marco, the team doctor, whispers to Cam to run before leaving. The owners offer Cam a strange red liquid, which he drinks. A disoriented Cam finds Marco's severed head in a plastic-lined room, and then Elsie comforts him as he loses consciousness. Cam later wakes up in an ice bath at Isaiah's compound connected to an IV of Isaiah's blood. He rips out the IV and grabs a trophy, aiming to kill Isaiah and escape. Cam finds Isaiah watching a video of cheering fans. Isaiah reveals he is part of a line of manufactured greatest of all times, or goats slang, players who gain enhanced powers from a ritual blood transferred down a lineage. Isaiah tells Cam they must fight to the death with one victor, and that person gets the blood. Cam bludgeons Isaiah to death with a helmet. Cam leaves the room and enters a football field where Elsie and the Savior's owners and Tom, wearing animal masks, present a contract for him to sign. They reveal that Cam's father arranged for him to be the next goat, and that the masked attack was orchestrated to lead Cam to the Saviors. Cam refuses to sign the contract and kills all of the owners, Elsie and the masked attacker, but spares Tom, who is then dragged into a pentagram and destroyed by an unseen force. Outside the compound, a bloodied Cam walks past the masked cheerleaders and into the desert. And that is the end of our movie. So, this movie is batshit insane in all the best ways. I enjoyed how batshit insane it was throughout. I love that it fully commits to its batshit insanity. And that's, I think, why it worked for me, because it just fully commits to what it's doing. I got no problem with it. It is crazy. It is kind of out there. But, like I've said before, I like movies that take big swings for fences, and this one takes a big swing whether it connects or not. It probably doesn't fully connect, but boy, oh boy, I like it. So.
Okay.
What do you think?
So I feel like I have complimented what I needed to compliment already. Sure. And I feel like, honestly, I've slammed a lot of what I needed to slam already.
Okay, all right.
But, like, I think to really talk about the writing, I need to talk about the themes and, like, where I think it goes a little awry.
Okay, well, let me think if there's anything specific I want to say.
Yeah, go ahead. Definitely do that.
This movie is hysterical. I don't know if we've led on to how funny
it's really
this
funny.
is. It is so damn funny, and that's probably why we had so much fun.
It's Marlon Wayans.
It's Marlon Wayans, but there is one scene where the first time we see the X-ray, I will also say throughout, I think this movie is actually like well crafted in that it does insane shit, but I think it does the groundwork so that by the time that most insane stuff is happening, you're like open to it, because I thought Matt Dalton also felt this way.
It's because Marlon Wayans is so unhinged.
I also just mean with
it allows
for it to get crazier.
I
also think like the early on X-ray stuff, then leading into the crazier X-ray stuff, and something Matt Dalton said, and I want to talk about a scene that he really liked and I agreed, is the first time they do the X-ray fully on, it's basically to hide the fact who got hurt, because we see that our boy Cam is about to go head to head with another player, and they both go X-ray as their brains are basically crush into each other, and we go to a Mortal Kombat X-ray thing from the game. Yeah, I mean that happens in those games.
Yeah.
And then one is laying on the ground and it's still an X-ray, and we think it's Cam, and it's a rug pull Cam put his helmet into another dude and knocked him out. And then he's like, oh my God, I went too hard. And Isaiah comes over and he's like, I am so proud of you. And then all the players dance over this horribly injured player laying on the ground. And it is so funny. Like, it's this shot from above of them all like partying just over this person laying there. Also, this movie recreated the Last Supper image.
Okay,
and
that was crazy. It was funny and it was quick. But I also was like, we didn't need that.
Matt and I were both like, that was insane. But again, because it's laid the groundwork of so much insanity, I'm like, you know what? Okay, you can do the Last Supper, because there's a lot of religious imagery and savior imagery. I mean, hell, it's the name of the teams. Like, this wasn't supposed to be subtle. They make it clear. He wasn't trying to be subtle. That's kind of my point when people are like, it's not subtle enough. It's like, no shit, he beat us over there with a hammer with it. I'm okay with that. Because from the beginning, I knew that that's what I was getting. When the team was named the Saviors.
Well, when you look at the poster.
Yeah, I mean, T-pose. He's Jesus posing. Like,
yeah.
It's so insane.
It's like Zack Snyder's Superman is like, the Jesus imagery is so on the nose, and this is doing the same thing.
Yeah. But this is cooler because the Zack Snyder's Superman sucks. So... and isn't fun and is boring, in my opinion. So, okay, that's just what I want to say about this being funny and silly and beautiful looking at times. So, go ahead. Let's get into themes.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why everyone's wrong.
Okay. So, thematically, I wrote down multiple things that this movie is trying to say, including football is too violent and CTE be really out here. Race in football is something that we should highly consider because there is very much this being like Black children specifically not having opportunities besides sometimes like entering sports is like the way that they get into college and the way they get opportunities. But then there's also more pressure on Black athletes than white athletes, especially in the quarterback role. I think they're saying that.
Yep.
I think they're also talking about the pressure that is put on athletes by teams, agents, fans, the
family members,
the cults of football.
I mean, he even says out loud, he's like, I was a Black quarterback, so I had to be great to even be good.
Yeah,
and especially that has changed more recently, but I even look back at like early Steelers, like that Cordell Stewart was judged extremely harshly because he was a running quarterback and he was a Black quarterback. And he was like phenomenal, but like they never allowed him to play how he would be good because everyone wanted to be pocket passers at the time. And so there was like a lot of racism outwardly towards him in Pittsburgh at the time. So
okay. I wish you said that while I was talking about that.
Sorry. Well, I was waiting. I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, you totally could have. Okay, but yeah, then there's obviously this pressure that we put on specific players. It's pressure that's put on them by their team, by their management, by their agent, by their fans, etc. Especially this pressure of like, if I don't show up for this, I'll lose my job or I won't get this job. If I don't go play this game or heal immediately, like my entire career, entire life is down the fucking toilet.
You'd say if I don't play with this injury?
Yeah.
That's what you just said, sorry. It's just thinking.
I mean, I didn't use that words, but that's what I meant.
Baker Mayfield did it, and then he got cut from the Browns.
Well, let's talk about Tua, how many fucking concussions that man has played.
People keep telling him to not play. He's, whatever.
Well, when you have like 7.
And he will not wear a Guardian cap.
He's making choices. But again, I think that's because of the pressure that even if people are saying don't play, there's a huge pressure. If I don't fucking play, then I lose my job. Yeah. And I lose my money and my income. I also think there's a lot that they're saying about like what makes a man. Real men make sacrifices. Or like the comparison between men then as gladiators versus modern gladiators playing football. American football, quote, is just the newest iteration. I think this movie's also trying to say something about like what kind of sacrifice is required to be great. Sacrifice is required, period. But Whiplash. Like how far will you go? How much will you be willing to sacrifice to be great? That's all just that I came up with in 2 seconds of writing notes. That's a lot of things that this movie is trying to say, contend with, and I think it's all very relevant, especially to the sport of football. I just don't think, I think it like touches on all of these things very briefly, but it doesn't like dive into most of those things.
So I agree with what you're saying. However, I think that is all really one big theme, and all those points are lightly touched on for the overarching theme, which is about the pressure placed on athletes. More specifically, I think it's, and they even say this in the movie, how basically football players are the modern gladiators. Basically,
I just read that quote.
Oh, my bad. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
It said American football is just the newest iteration.
Yes.
I read that quote.
I apologize. I was thinking about it. But I'm saying, like, I think that is what this is all going for, is that we are part of the problem by putting this pressure.
Like you would be for gladiators. It's about like the audience cheering you on to kill each other.
Like we are the issue. And what's even more gross about this one, and what made me really sad, is that these players are pitted against each other too. Not on the field, but in terms of the cameras and the pay and the success to be on the field. So in this situation, we're putting two people that should be friends, Isaiah and Cam, against each other. Isaiah is literally training the person to fight and kill him and replace him, and he does his very best to train him to kill him. And we say, let's thematically say kill him is end his career, right? And he does it because of there's this like weird brotherhood, right? And that whole thing makes me like, I was like very sad realizing at the end that it's like he did do everything he could to train him to be like, you're going to get my blood, but not until you can take me down. And like
that's not true. He's getting his blood the whole time.
Fine, you're going to get the powers though. You get the blood. He does not get the full goat powers yet. That's what it is. Well, you don't roll your eyes at me.
Well, because it's ridiculous.
Goat because there's more to it than that. But I really enjoy that idea where he basically is like training his brother to kill him. And that like kind of fucked me up in thinking about sports. And that is kind of something we do. Like older generational players train the younger generation to kill them, in quotes, to send them out to pasture, send them off into retirement.
Well, I even think about that like a little bit because, again, we've mentioned we're Steelers fans 40,000 times on this podcast. I think it's interesting to consider like watching Ben when he was still our QB, his relationship with those
Mason
under
Rudolph.
him.
He was shitty to him.
He was such a piece of shit to Mason because Mason was actually like the next man up, potentially. And I think kind of Ben did fuck him over.
Yeah, he did. Mike Tomlin fucked him over more than anybody. But
it was a combo move there, but yeah. And versus Josh Dobbs was not actual competition for taking a spot, so Ben loved him.
Yeah. I think, Ben saw a little of him and Mason. But I also want to say this is also, it's funny because they are competing with each other, but the people that sit on the top of the throne are still the owners and the agents, right? Who are really making all the big bucks and are really treating them like animals. And I mean, and that's, it even added more to the racist element where it is like majority white owned teams and in a majority black played sport, has a whole slew of issues with it. And I think we've seen it before, like Jerry Jones, Cowboys owner, just being a horrible piece of shit and, kneeling with the players during BLM and then immediately turning around and being like, that's not what that meant. And then like going against it. And so like we basically expect these players to put their bodies on their line, but can't even like help their community outside of the game. And like, that's the whole thing. Anyway, my point is like, in the end, he goes and he kills what I would say is like his brother in arms, but goes and ends the cycle and like kills.
But then it's like, then you didn't need to do that.
I know. Well, maybe he needed the powers to go do it. It was also because he didn't understand everything. He didn't realize they could team up. And Marlon Wayans never would have let him because he was perpetuating the cycle. Right? So he breaks the cycle. It's also, I just like it's the anti-owner sentiment of that and also the owner literally calling him boy at the end. Oh my, you should have heard my theater. Was like, really got like mad in a good way, like at that, and I thought that was really cool. So, and that obviously plays in like the racism element. So,
I don't know. I just thought there were just some points that, I just think this dialogue, just because they say something twice doesn't mean it's effective in theming. I think what this movie's trying to say, they vocally tell you.
Yes,
they don't show you as much as they tell you, and we talk about how movies should be show, not tell.
Most of the time, yes.
And this movie is very much saying the things and then just like making you watch people beat each other, which yes is like thematically relevant also, but not towards a lot of the things that they want you to take away from it. Like, they make 2 maybe comments about race in football. Maybe. And like the other thing you're supposed to like, and then yes, you might notice that the races are different between the owners and the players.
You say the comments, but again, we're NFL fans, so maybe we already are just aware.
That's like, what I said. Yeah, like I think we're already aware of these issues.
Isn't that showing, not telling? Then wouldn't that be what they did? Is showing
by saying it twice and then having one piece of imagery that contributes
I don't know.
to it.
I think they have imagery throughout.
I don't agree. Okay. I don't think the imagery contributes to anything besides like the violence itself. I think most of it. Thematic purpose they're trying to get across with these quotes that like some of them are cool and others are just like so lame and on the surface that I want to punch whoever wrote it.
Well, while we're talking about on the surface and lame, we have to talk about the cult and the savior complex of football, because in the United States, football is literally a religion. And that is another comment this is taking. My religion is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
And I feel a little bit more guilty after watching this because that's very much what it is. Like, people rely on their happiness via sports. These cult members that love Isaiah are like, that is their life. And you know what? I've been known to having my Monday, maybe Tuesday and Wednesday ruined by a bad football game.
Yes.
And there are families that are ruined over football games. And like it's just actually so insane that we partake in this cult behavior that is, I know how nasty it is, but I have not like really looked internally because I purposely ignored it, and this movie made me look more internally than I think I have before in the nastiness of the cult and religious aspect. Like, he literally is our like a good quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers would be my Jesus right now, and I can't help I do feel that way where I was like, God, just please, like, I pray. I'm not a religious person, but I pray that the Steelers get some young kid that's going to be good in a couple of years and we can be bad for a few years. So maybe I can see a Super Bowl in my lifetime. And that's not okay.
No.
But you know what? I'm going to keep doing it. And I just think it's very funny that this movie called me out.
Again, I do think you feel really seen from this movie because these are things that we think about or we talk about all the time since we do watch sport. But I think if you like aren't a football fan, you're not going to go into this movie and like, you're going to be like, oh, that was super on the surface, or you're not going to see it.
If you're not a professional sports fan, like I don't, or at least have some understanding of professional sports, I feel like this movie's going to be a miss, 100%. That the audience is movie-like lovers who also love professional sports, which most
but
people
then
I
could
know
also
like
see
sports.
People who really like football being like, fuck this stupid movie.
Or they would be like,
the love of my life.
They'd be like, hell yeah, this is what football's all about.
Yeah, so
and they'll just ignore it and everything will go over their head.
Yeah, so I just don't know how well this movie's going to resonate with anybody.
I don't know. I loved it for all that. So, but that's okay. I can understand your complaints. I just think it's funny how goofy and out there it is, and yet I do feel like I was able to take away some meaning from it, and I felt that it was richer in themes than I think people are letting on, even if the themes are beating you over the head with a hammer.
I think the themes are, I think they're throwing a lot at the wall.
Okay.
And seeing what sticks a little bit. I don't know.
We don't disagree too often. I feel like we are not on the same page.
I don't
with
think
this one,
that
but
maybe what I just said isn't like the right language to describe it.
you don't feel like it finishes the sentence.
I don't think it finishes
which is
almost
what I've said.
any single sentence.
Okay.
In this movie.
See, I find that each part that doesn't think finish builds on a bigger overall theme, and that's like where our difference is, and that's okay. We can agree to disagree on this one, especially because most of the world agrees with you, and most of the world disagrees with me.
Yeah.
But I think I'm smarter than everybody, and I'm better than everyone.
I still rated the movie, which would be in a way that would be considered a positive for Rotten Tomatoes. So, like, you know, I don't hate the movie. I had a lot of fun. I would watch the movie again. I just think that, like, the script is messy with the themes and stuff. I also think, like, some of the lines are just so fucking corny. Like, I may just steal your youth. Was a real quote from this movie. Another real quote from this movie is, "We groomed you."
I loved Matt and I were cracking up during that. We just straight up said it. We groomed you since you were a little kid. I was like, yeah, they did.
Yeah, but I think, again, they're telling us, not showing us.
Yeah, they did both.
Also, this ain't a fucking game, man. This is everything.
Yeah.
What are you willing to sacrifice? Everything. You fucking say it. Everything. Then show me.
How about
our boy does not even believe that. Cameron Cade does not believe in that.
Isaiah's trying to get him. He's trying to convert him to believe that.
He never will. He don't care.
Okay. Also, how about when Isaiah goes, "I am football"? I was dead. Everything you're saying is making me like this movie more.
Oh my god. Okay.
Okay, one more
script is so corny.
It is. But that's
like,
what it's trying to do. That's why I keep yelling.
Sometimes I loved that it was corny, and other times I hated it. Like, my favorite corny line, just to put it out there because I wrote it down.
Is it when he boops him?
Oh,
there's a boop. Marlon Wayans boops.
There's more than one boop, I think. I love boops. So I did, in fact, love him, like, yelling at him and then going, boop. That was amazing. But my favorite quote was him saying, like, basically, like, you shouldn't, like, play, blah, blah, blah. And he's saying, are you saying that as a doctor? And then he says, what about as a fan?
It's so awesome. All right. I also will say I really like the chapter cards throughout for each day and the lesson he was learning. Like, again, it tells you exactly what this movie's going to be from the beginning, so I can't complain. Okay. We didn't talk about the imagery with the Jesus and the devil stuff that much, or at least the language regarding it. I do think this is a messy theme, and I don't care. Throughout the whole goat imagery, goat is supposed to be the devil. And so my assumption in this is that the devil is the original goat that has been passing on this, which is perpetuating the cult, like, false idol religious element of the NFL. So it's the devil is creating a false idol via football for us, which is crazy and awesome. And he's a fake Jesus. Actually, he ends up becoming a Jesus because he goes against it, maybe, at the end. But at the end of the movie, and also him is very much a devil reference as well. Like, him or goat are both ways that we refer to the devil. And then at the end of the movie,
refer to him as him.
Yeah, I've used him can be used. I mean, him can be used both for like God or the
That's
devil.
what I was gonna say. I thought it was like Jesus.
I would say like referring to him feels much more. Usually God is
like,
referred to as God.
Him. I want to be like the Messiah of football.
That's why it's almost like a false prophet. But I think him. Okay. I think him can just as well be related to him as in like the evil almighty, or well, not almighty, but you know, the evil devil.
That's fair.
Also at the end of the movie, after defeating Isaiah and running out into the tunnels, Cam's cross is being worn upside down, which I was like, oh, I did a Leo Point meme when I saw that.
I didn't notice that, so I do appreciate that.
But Matt Dalton was on that pointed out the goat thing and how the goat has constantly a reference to the devil. So I think, especially because I felt the language throughout the slang, like no one is like, I want to be the goat. Nobody says that other than children.
On the nose,
But looking back at it, or I want to be him. like looking back at it through the eyes of the devil, of the religious lens, it makes a lot more sense. And I don't find it as corny. Like I understand why they did it. So
how did you feel about the very ending, or like how did you interpret that?
I think it's breaking that cycle. I also think that they had to just go insane with it, because if you left it boring like that, it just wouldn't hit. You already have gone down the path of batshit insanity. Like you must finish even crazier, which is what something I loved about The Substance. I don't think this one nails it the same way The Substance does. However, I'm glad they committed, and I don't know what else they could have done. So
I knew it would have to end in some sort of like further sacrificey narrative at the end.
But maybe it's him he's taking the goat blood, and he is ending the cycle that the devil has started with, you know. Again, this isn't the NFL. This is the league.
But also, he's about to go to jail. He's not playing anymore. He's done football. So, yeah, I don't know.
He's going to go to jail, maybe. Or he's going to wander off into the desert and become the Messiah of football. He's going to train a new era of disciples. 12 football disciples. You only need 11 guys for a team.
I thought it was dumb as fuck that Julia Fox was in that last scene. It doesn't make sense narratively why she would be present for that, because she doesn't work for the team. She was just married to the goat. What if she's
some succubus that has married every goat and stays the same age? I don't know. And she gets passed on. I
still thought that was dumb. Okay. And also her stabbing herself was silly.
It was very silly. Kind of made sense for her character, though.
I don't know. I was just like, that little tiny detail had me check the fuck out.
I also thought that Jim Jeffries getting exploded at the end was a little out there. But then I was like, damn, are we really saying that agents ruined football more than the owners did? I don't know.
Tim Heidecker's the agent.
Oh, Tim Heidecker. That's
Jim Jeffries is the doctor. And I was also like, why are we cutting off the head of the doctor?
Well, because he betrayed them. He tried to get him to run. And he was also
Judas.
sad. He was, he sort of was Judas, but he betrayed, I'm not sure who was portrayed as Judas in the painting. I'd have to look back. But
anyway.
Either way, you guys can tell. Again, I don't think this is a 10 out of 10. I just feel the need to defend this because I had fun and because everyone else hates it. So, okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Let's rank what Monkey Paw production movies we've seen.
Okay.
So we have not seen Keanu, Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul, Wendell and Wild, or Monkey Man. Monkey Man, I would say, is the biggest blind spot in our Monkey Paw productions. But we have seen Get Out, Black Klansman, Us,
oh shit,
Candyman, Nope, and Him. So of those movies, again, Get Out.
Oh Black no! Okay, Klansman, well, him is last place.
Black Klansman, Us, Candyman, Nope, Him.
Him, Candyman, Us, Black Klansman, Get Out, Nope.
Wow,
that's my order. Does that feel crazy?
My last place is Him.
And that was in I did last place first.
I would go Him, Candyman, Us, so same as you.
Yeah.
And then I panic and I start crying because I've seen Nope and Get Out way more times than I've seen Black Klansman, but Black Klansman fucking rocks.
God, there are days that Us could be at the top of that list for me too. I'm so mad.
It's definitely Him, Candyman, Us, and then based off how I feel today, I'm gonna go Nope. Tie between Get Out and Black Klansman.
Okay.
But like that could change on the day.
Black Klansman was really good.
I can't really decide if I like Get Out or Nope better most days. So
okay,
that's where I'll go today. So let's rate this bitch.
Wait, do you want to do favorite scenes?
Oh yeah. My favorite scenes is when they played football and they made football look horrible. And then also when they played football and then Isaiah was being a fucking freak while they played football.
Yeah. I think I said my favorite scene already. It's when he goes skull to skull with that dude and it goes into X-ray mode.
And then
he hugs him and says, "I'm so proud of you," and they dance.
That's one of the many scenes that fits what I just said. So beautiful.
So good. Okay, all right, let's rate it. All right,
slut. Let's rate a bitch.
All right, it's a 7.5 out of 10 for me.
I'm gonna go 6.5.
Okay.
0.4.
All right, Matt Dalton's scale.
Something.
On a scale of -5 to +5, I'm going to give this a +4.
My
like,
God.
I want people to watch this. I think this is so silly. I would love to put this on for people at a party. Like, actually, and not in a mean way. And, like, have you seen this? It's like Bodies in terms of, like, silliness to me. So.
Yeah, that's fair, because Bodies for me is like a +4.
Bodies is completely on the nose, and we love it.
I think it's
her. Similarly well made. So, you know what? Maybe
she's
a better
way
script,
less of
though.
a mess. Yeah.
Better script.
I would give this +1.
Okay, damn, low. All right. Well,
I don't think you should see it in theater. Well, I think you should see everything in theaters and get filmmakers their money, but I think this is definitely...
Coming from the man who saw it for free, because I'm goated.
What's that mean in this context? After talking about this movie...
You're goated. You did all the work, but I get to see it.
Yeah, I did all the work, so suck a fat one.
I'm here, though, aren't I? Can't do without me.
On the back of my success.
All right.
Yeah.
Well... is there anything else? Are we ready to be done? Are we ready to be wrapped up?
I think we are ready to be wrapped up. As always, I'm Hannah.
I'm Matt Hannah.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannahs.
Stay tuned and stay scared.